Hi, Genevieve Jacobs from Region Media. I'm at the National Portrait Gallery, surrounded by marvellous, evocative, brilliant portraits of Australia from the 100-year history of the Archibald Prize, Australia's most widely recognised, most popular, often most controversial prize. The exhibition Archie 100 is open at the Portrait Gallery, and with me are Natalie Wilson, who has been the curator of this exhibition and brought it with her from her role as curator of Australian art at the Art Gallery of New South Wales, and 2018 winner Yvette Coppersmith for her own self-portrait. Beautiful, beautiful work that's just behind us. Natalie, I want to start with you on this. The Archibald is so much a part of Australia's story. People love it, they hate it, they argue over it. Why do you think that portraits matter to us so much?
Well, when you think about it, every day when you open your eyes, you look at you look at faces around you, you look at the human condition, and that's what portraiture engages with every day. The Archibald Prize hasn't always been so popular. When it first started in 1921, people hadn't heard of it. It took a few years, and of course, it took a few controversies for it to be part of the imagination of Australians.
Yeah, and of course, the very famous controversy is the DeBell controversy over the portrait of Joshua Smith. There is a DeBell in this exhibition, although not that particular one. Lots of others that are really familiar. I saw Davida Allen as soon as I came in. There's this beautiful Wendy Sharp. There's a gorgeous William Dargie portrait of Albert Namatjira, all of them with stories to tell. Yvette, you won in 2018 for a portrait that was in some senses quite traditional in its initial appearance, but it had more stories to tell than simply the image of you. I know you were inspired, for example, by Jacinda Ardern. Talk to us about what you think the role of a portrait is.
The specific role of the Archibald is one that you have a conversation with the whole of the country as an artist, and that is so unique for an artist to have that kind of audience. So I approached it thinking, what is it that I wanted to speak about? What is most pertinent issue at the time? In 2018, I felt that we wanted to really bring to the forefront in people's minds young women in leadership, and Jacinda Ardern was an amazing role model, and we've since seen a wave of women in leadership in this country like never before. And I feel like, these kind of images that expand upon what we perceive of ourselves and what is possible is so powerful for creating change in this country. And I feel like that's the amazing thing about portraiture, is that it connects between one person and another, the artist and the sitter, in a way that you are witnessing another human. You cannot paint a portrait without having an open heart, and at the same time you cannot view a portrait without having an open heart. And I think that is something that is really pertinent right now in a world of social media.
Natalie, I'm interested in the paintings that you selected as the curator, because there's a very, very wide range of them here. Some of them will be easy and traditional and familiar for people to grasp, but they also tell a social story. What informed your choice?
Well, having to go through the more than 6,000 portraits that have been in the Archibald since 1921 and then whittle it down, I wanted to make sure that there was something for everyone. The Archibald really is a very democratic portrait prize. Anyone can enter. And of course, we like to make sure that it is representative of what is happening in Australia at any given moment. But there's also these wonderful connections to history. With Yvette's portrait, for example, she speaks directly also to a 1922 portrait by George Lambert from the National Portrait Gallery's collection, and making those beautiful connections was really important for me, so that people became aware of the Archibald Prize, its history, but also the broader history of Australia and Australians that have been so important in building this country to be what it is today.
Natalie, that's really hard for you, I know, but what do you love?
Well, my given answer normally is that I have two kittens. I can never choose between two, which is my favourite. I have many favourites. Of course, those portraits that tell absolutely wonderful stories are the ones that I'm drawn to most. I also love the fact that part of our investigation was having to uncover one subject that we didn't know who the person was, and that's Grace Crowley's portrait of Miss M. Roberts, who we later discovered was an artist model working in Sydney named Marjorie Roberts. Uncovering those fabulous stories and bringing those to the Australian public has been fantastic.
That was an incredibly diplomatic answer. Well done, you. What about you, Yvette? Which ones do you love out of this?
Yeah, I have pretty broad taste as well. But, you know, I have been so influenced by Australia's 20th century painters, Grace Crowley, George Lambert, Dorrit Black. There's so many on the walls around me, and it's actually just the most immense privilege to be hung amongst them. So, you know, there's too many. There's so many favourites, and I feel like, you know, different things speak to you depending on where you're at in each moment. Your taste changes. So.
Yeah, and there's so much to connect with here. I mean, as we're speaking, lurking over my shoulder is a portrait of H.G. Nelson. So I can just feel rampaging Roy lurking at me. But this is a terrific opportunity for Canberra, for Wollongong, for Riverina, for people across southern New South Wales, for everyone who comes to the National Portrait Gallery, because the exhibition is here until the end of January, and you can extort out of your friends and loved ones which portrait they really like and make up for my complete failure to do so with these two. I'm Genevieve Jacobs, and this is Region Media.